Good morning on this Holy Thursday, in this Holy Week, the holiest time of the year for Christians all over the world. I'm here in my office in beautiful downtown Ashland, Ohio, and this is another post of faith seeking understanding. So glad that you're able to tune in. So I want to talk a little bit about Holy Week. I want to get to Maundy, Thursday, which of course is today, but I want to talk a little bit about the journey of Holy Week. In some Protestant traditions, and I grew up in this tradition, Holy Week was not a real big deal to us. You know, we didn't do Maundy, Thursday, we didn't celebrate Good Friday or observe Good Friday, but of course we would go all out for Easter, and everybody would show up for Easter, and we would just have a wonderful celebration of worship. And it took until I was in college to be exposed to the tradition, the liturgy, the journey of Holy Week. And I discovered that by participating in this journey with Jesus through Holy Week, that Easter just became even more profound and more meaningful for me. And came to realize that when Holy Week is not observed, and the only thing that we participate in is Easter Sunday, it's kind of like reading the last chapter of the book. And so there is this wonderful opportunity to keep vigil and to journey through Holy Week and to be part of this wonderful journey with Jesus through Palm Sunday, and then of course through Holy Week, as Jesus needles the authorities to within an inch of their patience, cleansing the temple, or more adequately, more appropriately, judging the temple. And then, of course, finally the Last Supper, and then where the showdown happens in the Garden of Gethsemane, and then, of course, Jesus is crucified. And then finally, we get to the wonderful celebration of Easter Sunday, the wonderful celebration of resurrection. So it is a wonderful journey to take every year, and it's something that I look forward to. Holy Week is my favorite week of the year. Easter is my favorite holiday, because without Easter, we have no Christmas. We have no reason to celebrate Advent or to prepare Advent and to celebrate Christmas. So Easter for me is critical, and the whole entire Holy Week opportunity. So I want to talk a little bit about Maundy, Thursday, which is today, Holy Thursday. Maundy, Thursday, not Monday, but Maundy, Thursday, is a Anglo-French term that comes from the Latin word mandatum, which is translated mandate or commandment. And it's reminiscent of Jesus, who in the upper room says to his disciples, "A new commandment I give to you, that you love one another as I have loved you." And so on Maundy, Thursday, we remember Jesus' love for us, and Jesus showing us his love in service by washing the disciples' feet, something that no host in Jesus' day would have thought of doing. If there was not a servant to do the foot washing, then you as the guest would have been given towel and water and expected to wash your own feet. But here is Jesus, the host of the meal, washing the disciples' feet. And then in the celebration of the Last Supper, it's interesting. The Passover in Judaism is often an occasion for celebration and joy, because it's a reminder of God's liberation of God's people from slavery in Egypt. And so there is a certain celebration here. How interesting it is that the meal would have taken quite the turn when at this Last Supper, Jesus says at the table, "One of you will betray me." The idea that one of the disciples who was willing to break bread with Jesus, to sit in hospitality that Jesus has offered, would also be planning to betray him. So the Last Supper takes a somber tone at this point. And as Christians, the one time that we celebrate the Last Supper in a somber way is certainly on Maundy, Thursday. Celebration of communion on Sundays should really be a joyous celebration. It shouldn't be somber. I think sometimes in the Western Church we've treated it that way. But when you to celebrate communion on Easter Sunday, or on any Sunday, which is the reason why we worship, because Jesus has been raised from the dead. It is a time of celebration. But here on Holy Thursday, on Maundy Thursday, there's a somber tone to what we do, because as we celebrate the Last Supper, we end the service on Maundy Thursday going to Gethsemane. The Gospels tell us that after the Last Supper, at the end of the Last Supper, we're told that they sang a hymn, they sang a psalm, and then they went out to the Mount of Olives. And it's on Maundy Thursday where that story ends. The story is not over. We tell it, we continue to tell the story on Good Friday. But on Maundy Thursday, we journey with Jesus to the upper room, to the place where he hosts this last meal. That Jesus says, I have earnestly desired to eat this Passover meal with you. And the word there for desire is a very, very strong passion. It almost, in some contexts, it could be translated lust. That Jesus says, I just really have desire. This has been at the center of my heart to celebrate this meal with you. And so how can we, 2,000 years later, as followers of Jesus, desire to do anything less than celebrate and remember with our Lord and Savior? And Jesus also takes and does something brand new to this meal, something that's going to be etched into the disciples' minds for the rest of their lives after resurrection. He takes this Passover meal and he takes the bread, which is a gift from God, which is signifies the goodness of God. And he takes it and he points it to himself. This bread, which reminds God's people of the manna rained down from heaven, this bread that is torn and given to the people, is now somehow focused on him and his life, his sacrifice, his death. This bread is my body. When you take this bread, you remember now what it is that I have done for you. And then the cup, which in Judaism has no sacramental significance whatsoever. He takes the cup, he lifts it, and he said he is wants to again make a new symbol, make a new pointer, if you will. When you drink of this cup, remember this is my blood that I am pouring out and shedding for you. And I don't think that it's an accident that the early church saw in this Last Supper, saw in this meal, the center of what following Jesus was about, in the center of their faith, which is why we know that the early Christians, every time they gathered together and worshiped, part of their worship involved some kind of Eucharistic meal in some way as they gathered together. And that some of us in the Protestant tradition have gotten away from that, I think, is unfortunate. But here on this Holy Thursday, we go to the room, the upper room that Jesus has prepared for us, that Jesus has made the arrangements. We are reminded that this is not the table of the church, it is the table of the Lord, and Christ our Lord does invite us. And so on this day, we accept that invitation on this Holy Thursday, and we are reminded of Jesus' love for us. We are reminded that Jesus also commands us that you are to love one another as I have loved you. So we celebrate Maundy Thursday, and we know that it ends tonight at the Garden of Gethsemane, but the story continues tomorrow, and I will have some more thoughts on that tomorrow morning, probably about 9 o'clock. Again, I will post this video to my blog and to Facebook, but I hope that you have a blessed Maundy Thursday, and I hope that you, like Jesus desires to celebrate with us, to eat with us, that we desire today and this evening to sit with our Lord and remember what he has done for us as we celebrate a Last Supper with him. And together, some 2,000 years later, the remembrance continues. And remembrance continues because of Easter, but we will get to that in good time. So for now, have a blessed Maundy Thursday, a blessed Holy Thursday. And May God's presence be revealed to you in the worship of the community of faith. Take care. Have a